Let's decorate the plaque. So here I'm going to use my white piping icing, and I'm just going to go around the edge, and you'll notice it's not perfect along the edge. I've learned over the years, no one cares if there's a little cookie showing, so don't stress yourself out. Just go around the edge of the cookie the best you can. I like to hold the bag about 1/4 of an inch above. That helps me maneuver the icing a little bit better. And then I'm going to flood this with my white flood. Again, I go around the edge of the cookie and work my way into the center. And then this is the cookie that we are going to airbrush. So you want to make sure that this is completely dry before you move on to the next step. And I'm going to show you a new airbrush machine that I found on Amazon. Unfortunately, this one is completely sold out, which is such a bummer. But if you look for makeup airbrush machines, small ones, they're around $20. They work great. So here it is, one of these small airbrushes, and you just screw the airbrush, the actual brush, to the top. Really, really easy. The airbrush comes together, already put together. So I'm just screwing that on, and then this is the holder for the airbrush. This one came with 2 different size cups, so I'm just going to screw the top one on there. Next, it has a button where you turn it on, and then that little area is how you charge it. I charged this overnight, turning it off and on. Next, I put some yellow airbrush color, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on so I don't spill it. You just snap it on, and then you pull back on the trigger slightly. And I really cannot believe how well this thing works. It's unbelievable. Because I have a really expensive big airbrush gun that I absolutely hate. So this is a million times better. Now I'm going to get my cookie that's dry, and I'm putting my screen genie on top of it. First, I'm getting my holder for my stencil. And then there's the screen genie. That is really a must-have item for airbrushing. It makes it so much easier and cleaner. And these are all magnetic. And so I'm going to decide where I want it. I decide to kind of put it a little bit cockeyed. Next, I'm going to take my airbrush gun. And I always like to practice on a little piece of paper to make sure that I have the pressure the right way. And then I just start spraying, and I use slow and light motion, meaning I'm not pulling back the trigger a lot. I'm just doing it very lightly, and then I'm using a couple different passes. And because this is small and portable, I mean, this just is so crazy easy. I wish I would have gotten this years ago. And then you lift it off. And look, I mean, you're just not even going to believe how good this works. Again, I used lots of passes very slowly and without a lot of pressure. And I mean, that's perfect. Now, you could leave this like this, and I think it's adorable. You don't have to write anything on it. Now I am showing you the consistency for what I use to write on cookies, like with kind of filled bubble letters. So you'll notice it's kind of thick. When I bring the spatula up, it will fall down in a plop. There's no ribbon really that falls down. But if I wiggle it or shimmy the bowl, it will spread out. So I just use an edible marker because normally I would have this underneath the projector, and I wrote the Hello Summer on there. I'm going to show you this. This is one way to do it. You're going to take your piping icing and you are going to go around the outside of your letters. And then, I'm sorry, not your piping icing. This is the consistency that I just showed you a minute ago, where you can use it for both. And now, for me, I like doing all the horizontal parts of the letters at the same time. That might be harder. For me, it's a little bit easier when it's a block style letter. Plus, I did not want my hand. I felt like if I kind of traced each letter with the icing, my hand would be in the way and you all wouldn't be able to see it. But the idea is just to go around the outside of each letter. And then once I do that, I'm going to fill them in. And then you'll have this cute Hello Summer on your cookie. Again, I think that this cookie by itself with just the suns on it is adorable. So you would not have to feel like you had to write on the cookie if you didn't want to, or if you feel like that's, you're a little bit uncomfortable with that. Now, I know that's a lot of work writing on a cookie, but isn't that cute? Let's use the mini cookie cutter to create this cute, cute gift. You're going to take your piping icing and you're going to go along the edge. And then you're going to fill this with your flood icing. And you should have received the download for the gift tag. You can print those off. I usually use cardstock on my printer. But if you don't have that, you could use regular printer paper. I don't think the recipient's going to care. They're just going to be thankful that you thought of them. So here I'm filling this in with my flood. And this cookie is a fast, easy cookie, so it's easy to make a whole bunch of them at once. And then after I allow this to crust over, so while this one's crusting over, I'm working on another one. And then by the time I get done with all the ones that I'm making, the first one is ready to put the yellow on top. So I'm going to use my scribe and just wiggle this around. Give it a little shake, perfectly flat. If there's a little divot, you can touch it with your scribe and it'll sink right in. Now I'm going to let this dry, like I said, till it's really good and crusted over. Next, I'm going to take my yellow piping icing and I'm just going to go across the cookie from the center of those little like bump outs, crossing in the center. Then I'm going to go from the little corners right across, crossing in the center. Next, I'm going to take my yellow flood and I'm just going to start and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze till I have a rounded shape. And that is all you need to do to create that cute little sun. Next, after they're completely dry, I put them in, I think this is a 4x6 cookie bag. I'll put five of them in there. Put a little cute twist tie. Now I got this at the dollar store for $1.25. Put a little shred in it. Put the cookie bag in it. I print off the cute tag and attach some dollar store ribbon. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see what you create.